Kind of to kick things off, I start with the same boring ass question every time. Simple introduction, man. Who are you? And a little background on yourself.
Yeah, I'm Nick. I'm the singer of NONEXISTER and the second guitarist, and that's more important, 50% of the core, the creative core of NONEXISTER. It's
Yeah.
Marco Nazer and me who do the whole thing. We started the whole thing, and we are the band leaders. We take all the creative decisions and everything. We have a great team of musicians and collaborators. So we're not kind of we don't try to be little kings and I think we know everything best. We take people in, but it's us who actually come already to the studio with quite finished songs, demos,
Right.
and then we
Right.
shape on them, work together, and it's us who take the decisions. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I think that's important for people to know because I think, very often it gets misconstrued on like what the setup is and things like that. And I think it's cool that you make the comment, like you bring in these people to help kind of emphasize the creative project and passion that you guys have. Like you're coming with a song that's mostly complete, but you still need those key people to make sure that it does the justice that it deserves.
I don't know if we need them. It's kind of often the demos are really quite finished. The point is more that if you, I mean, we asked um, musicians we appreciate a lot to work with
Yeah.
us to collaborate, and if you have good people, I mean, when you're very very young in your first bands, you think you know everything, and later you see, oh, that was probably a mistake because one of the best things are the comments of people who hear it for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
if especially if they're competent, and if you have great people you work with, you should appreciate their inputs. And sometimes things are really finished. I mean, Carter was not even re-recorded in the studio. Carter was only recorded in our studio, the German
Mm-hmm.
song. And on other songs, you even bring it and really want them to bring something in. You think, hey, there would be, it would be good there to have something more from the guitar and stuff. And um, he knows better about guitar than we do. So if you have a great guitarist, let him play. And
Yeah.
then often we take the samples back. We let him play, and then we have the whole layout, and then we decide again what we use or not. It
Right.
I wouldn't say you need them, but it definitely brings something more to it and makes it better. No?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair for sure. So let's talk a little bit about this project. You guys have, come together. You're starting the non-exister project. What's kind of the vision for you as far as the creative direction for what this project means to you?
I mean, I think often it shapes while it's alive, no?
Yeah.
Um, because the beginning was actually I'm coming from the punk hardcore scene, from the DIY scene, the squat houses, the where every bar you play, people do it by heart. You're always in family and
Yeah.
stuff. And Marco comes more from the dub, mainly a trip hop and dark wave things.
Yeah.
What he did, and we've known each other for a long time, just because Zurich is a very creative and good music scene, but it's not that big, as the city is not that big. So you know each
Right.
other more or
Yeah.
less. We've always respected and loved what the other one was doing, and we all already had talked on some occasions that both of us had an industrial alternative metal thingy in the back of our heads. And I was living in Spain for some years. So when I came back, I didn't have a band. And I met Marco. And so it was the moment to ask him, hey, are you free? Do you have
Right.
time for something? And he said, yes. And that's how it started. And when we started to work together, it was really an incredible match. It was like, no, it was this, love and first sight, in a romantic
Mm-hmm.
movie or whatever. He brought something. It was actually quite a great day. We met in his studio, and he just showed me um, some basic things he had prepared, And I was like, wow, he was a little bit shy, like, hey, what do you think? And I was like, wow, hey, open the mic, and was improvising right away. And he was like, what? I never had a singer like this, and stuff. And then
Yeah.
we worked very fast and noticed that we agree a lot and we inspire each other. And
Yeah.
that was very beautiful. And then we just worked very intuitively, and noticed that we feel like, in our case, 1 and 1 is 3 or even 5,
Yeah.
like none of us would be able to do this sound on his own,
Yeah.
and now then when you do, and as we worked so intuitively, we actually found out what our sound is by seeing it, emerge.
Hmm.
And then so this is, it became, as we're both uh quite detail, we love details, we're quite perfectionistic, let's say. It worked out to be a very cinematographic thing already in the sound. Then the videos came on top, and the whole, and we have great friends from the scene, professional light people.
Hmm.
One of my closest friend is a light designer on stage, and he heard our stuff, and he was actually the first next band member before
Yeah.
even we even had, because he said, "Oh, I like it. I'm going to be your light designer," and stuff. And so it started to build up to this kind of little bit of a whole art thing that is not only the music, even if we don't think we think the music could stand for itself, but it's not how we're working. And as I am a person, Marco as well, but me a lot as a writer, I'm a political person, I'm a philosophical person. I'm not a singer that, oh shit, now I have to write lyrics as well. I have
Right.
loads of stuff I want to talk about. So we're a socially critical band as well,
Hmm.
a philosophical band, a band that thinks about things. So I think that's a little bit it's a cinematographically
Yeah.
thinking band about the
Yeah.
world. A little bit like that,
But
yeah.
and I think that's something that, there's obviously a lot of artists out there that try to do that and stuff, but there's also so much surface level stuff.
Yeah.
And that has its time and place for some people, but I think for me at least, and a lot of the people that I talk to, digging into that authenticity and the depth of a project, um often unveils a deeper connection, because it's like you start to connect with these songs or these lyrics and stuff from artists, and you go, man, like there's somebody else out there thinking the way that I think about this thing, or
Yeah.
maybe it shifts your perspective on that topic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very important for me with other
Yeah.
bands a lot. Yeah.
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 So you mentioned the music videos, which is definitely something I wanted to talk about, because specifically, you guys dropped the music video, Where Does Your Mind Go? And until seeing the press release from Shane and the team, I would have never believed that that was a true, like, one shot, setup that you guys did. Talk a little bit about that, and Martina, playing her part, and just, I mean, for anybody that hasn't seen it, it's this really captivating underwater video that is completely um, tied to the music as well, with the anticipation and the stress. But then there's some sort of beauty in it with Martina and the way that she's releasing part of her breath and things like that.
Yeah, it was actually just a lucky punch. The director Elias had this idea to do this in a one shot. And then he said, yeah, like we probably have to try to do it, let's play the music twice as fast or whatever and stuff. And just by chance, I knew Momo, Martina.
Yeah.
I knew Momo, and I knew Momo was didn't play theater for quite a while, because of her and her boyfriend, her ex now, but her still collaborator. They do loads of theater stuff together. That they were traveling Southeast Asia for quite a while, doing freediving. And
Oh,
I was
okay.
like,
Yeah.
hey, I have an idea who could play this in real time, which makes it a lot more impressive.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
this was kind of a lucky shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing, I mean, she describes it very well when she says it was, for her to do this was a big challenge as well, because she's observed in this
Hmm.
situation. It's not her beneath the sea, you know. It's a
Yeah.
whole movie, a whole film team who is there, you know, and she has to concentrate so much. And as she has um to be so focused on herself, she focuses so much on the music. And what actually happens when she's free diving is that she has to totally calm down and get a complete control of her breath, of her body, and of everything.
Hmm.
But from time to time, even in real free diving, she's panicking, and
Right.
she's kind of, you know, and working, having to struggle against this panic. And
Yeah.
when the music was on while her doing this, it was actually very connected to the structure of the sound. As usually when the sound comes to the chorus and speeds up, or is just more dense, then
Yeah.
the panic came up and she had to do this fight against it. And that was this thing that she found very impressive as well. And I think, I mean, for me as well, the video is, I was so impressed when I saw it, because I literally, I feel with her. I struggle with her. It's like it almost hurts physically, you
Yeah.
know, because see, it's real, you know. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I thought that was beautiful too, because I think, it feels staged in the sense of like, again, you could feel the anticipation build with the music. So you're like, oh, well, they told her how to act. They told her these are the shots we want. And it's like, to hear again that it was a one shot and it was like, no, that was her experiencing it real time.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. It's a beautiful thing you've created there with her. So huge shout out to that. And I think it lends itself to what you said earlier about the band being kind of this cinematic project to some degree as well, because the music plays into that just so easily that it's a film score. Just the film is 3.5 4 minutes long, and that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the album. You've got the debut album, Demons, has been announced. It's dropping on the 15th of March. You've got some more songs that I want to touch on as well, as far as music videos and stuff. But talk about, how in this album building process for you guys, the the kind of conceptualization of the story that we want to tell and building this album, and kind of how Demons is the tie-in to what this overarching concept is.
I mean, it's the concept built itself actually after, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
as I said, we were working very intuitively, and as we matched so well, and you've got all this, you know, all these ideas in your head, especially when you start a project. Usually, you have a lot of stuff to that is there, trying to get out, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so we wrote more than half of the album within just a few month. It was very fast,
Yeah.
bam 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 bam, and then you've got this thing, and then it slowed down a little bit, but not that much. And as we were kind of ready to go live when the pandemic hit. So we went to the studio, and so it was not very hard for us because we had enough work to do. There were no shows announced yet. It was just more like, let's do shows now.
Yeah.
So we're going to the studio and tweaking it more and doing all that. And then we had just all these songs, and didn't actually realize how much they really fit together. And I think it's because we were working within the same period, you know, creative
Yeah.
period, that it sticks so well together. And when we were looking for a song, for a title for the album, um, and we're contemplating about this, and came up with Demons, it was kind of clear that, okay, yes, it is kind of a concept in the whole thing. It sticks together. It works
Right.
well together. Um, but it's really because it was done in the same creative phase, I think, what it is.
Yeah.
And I think you were asking a little bit why demons as well, no? What we
Yeah.
want to say. I mean, it's a thing that I'm interested anyway, I think, as a person as well, in um really trying to get to the core of things in an honest way, really thinking about things in an honest way means as well being able to admit if you didn't really get there yet, or
Mm.
if it's possibly um impossible to get there, you know. So I don't believe in eternal truths, you know,
Mm-hmm.
religions or whatever. I think there's a lot that we can't tell, and I try to be courageous enough to live with that instead of building myself an eternal truth, but more this as a way how to address things, you know, to try to get to things, and as well in a self-critical way, you know,
Yeah.
as well in life, to ask yourself really, where are my demons, and when are they affecting others and stuff. So that's a little bit the subtext, let's say, of the thing.
Yeah.
So when I see things in the world as well, like what we address on this album as well, you know, like kind of some atrocities were really addressed there.
Right.
Um, I'm on one hand, I'm accusing this. I'm um, complaining that it is like that, and I can't understand it. But then um, I quite quickly go into these two psychological ways. You know, I try to understand on one side,
Mm-hmm.
and have to express how hard it is to understand this, and on the other side, the the honest way with yourself, because most of these things are these the core of these horrible things are things that are lay in every one of us, and the difference, if it goes bad or really bad to an extent, if you get to power to an extent that can be harmful for our whole society, is a question of ethics, the courage of self-criticism, and asking yourself where you stand, no? And
Yeah.
and so I'm very interested as well to address this thing, to say, hey, you can't just point your finger on others. Ask yourself as well, um, what is it? Because it will probably rather more eventually prevent you to do similar things, even probably on a slower lower scale. So this is, I think, the main interest on this, and then it's about other things that I'm concerned about, no, things that harm you now, like just personal things that hurt, and things. There's a few of these songs as well,
Mm-hmm.
and a few things that I'm just existentially scared of, you know, like the climate change, the human caused climate change that is just, you know, really not funny, and
Right.
going on fast. So things I'm just yeah, that just I'm concerned about because of that, you know. That's a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think that's really well said. And I think, you know, it's the point that you made as far as like you're kind of saying like you're allowed to be upset about some of these, you know, social economic things, but like you also need to be kind of introspective about them, understand how they're affecting you, because that's also in turn affecting your social economic system around you. And like if you want the, you know, obviously it's hard for some people to wrap their head around like the global warming change, right? But if you want to affect that change, you have to start by affecting the small niche around you and helping educate or whatever that is. And until you take that introspective look about how these topics are affecting me, I can't make an educated, you know, argument on why I want this thing to change.
Yes, and even more, you know, on these two songs, for example, "You're Pain Up My Veins," and there even more, it's really a psychological question, and how do you dare, where we talk
Mm-hmm.
about victim blaming, and about the abuse of power is a drug. No, I
Yeah.
mean, when we go to victim blame, it's very interesting. No, it's a thing that every atrocity in this world, and there's no perpetrator on this world who says, "Oh yeah, I'm the bad guy." No, they always say, "Oh no, it's the other one's fault." They
Yep.
provoked me, or they violated some principles. I think I can ask them to follow for sure, or whatever. Or they
Hmm.
invent some just any kind of theory that is totally wrong, just to make them guilty for it. But
Right.
it is a thing that we all have, because always when we commit something that in our little scale, that we think we actually did something we didn't really, we got to say, yeah, it takes something to say, oh yeah, shit, I was wrong. No, you usually say, yeah, but he did, he
Right.
made me hit him, because, and it's an interesting, and it's not only important so you wouldn't do it, but it's important as well to get a hold of these things as a society. If you
Hmm.
understand things, if you just point at each other, you're just going to fight back and forth and whatever. If you want to get a hold of things and really find a solution for them, you got to understand them.
Right. Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Yeah. There reminds me of a quote that I had heard years ago, that says, when we don't see eye to eye, we should seek to understand, because
Yeah.
everybody's going to have differing opinions, and that's fine. Who's to say that you're right and I'm wrong, or vice versa? But if we can at least sit down and have civil conversations about our perspectives of each thing, there may be a middle ground. Probably more often than not, there's a middle ground where it's like, okay, we both can be right. Let's just say that this is the way that we'll carry forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, talk a little bit about you brought up How Do You Dare? Talk a little bit about that video, because I think that's another one that, again, cinematically, it's just so powerful. If people will actually sit down and invest and watch, talk about what went into the mindset of that storyboard and kind of how you wanted that to play out thematically.
I mean, I have to say there's some videos that are based on an idea of mine. This one is not. This one was a beautiful thing to meet this director, with whom we're doing another video right now that will come with the release of the album. It's called Storm.
Mm-hmm.
That's great as well. I'm very happy to announce this. And it's Dave Bullivant, who is a great movie video music video director anyway, and yeah, and who is a very intelligent and sensible person. So it was very, very interesting to talk with him about this. He came up with an idea, this graphical idea of letting things go backwards, um, just as a cinematic idea, but then as well, because what we wanted to do there is as well this question, as I said before, victim blaming is addressed usually in the context of sexual violence,
Mm-hmm.
but it is much broader. It's all around, every
Right.
genocide is every genocide is rectified by victim blaming. They blame the
Yeah.
the victims all the time. So we wanted to get a situation where it's not clear. In the end, you see that it's a black woman, but in the
Right.
beginning, it could be a boy. It could be, and you don't really understand what happens. And that was the thing as well. The idea to make people think that you don't really get the story
Yeah.
up till the end, and then you get it. So it makes you probably think about the whole thing in while you watch it, and
Yeah.
or after, but you see, there's loads of layers. That's what we try often, to give it many layers, to not give answers or something, but to ask questions, to try to give it a next layer in your head that emerges probably in your head, and it's not even the one we want to talk, it's the one you
Right.
you came on, like.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of is, or at least maybe the intent is to have people be a little introspective, because in that video specifically, like you said, it's not really revealed until the very end. So, like, most people as they watch are going to start putting their own stereotypes or prejudiced into that
Yeah,
and trying to determine like, oh, it must be this type of person. And it's like, well, just wait, and then that ending hits and you're like, oh, well, I was wrong. Now, what does that say about me? How do I address this? What do I need to do?
exactly. That's exactly what we wanted with this. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly the purpose. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
That's
think you nailed it. I think you nailed it on that one for
thank
sure.
you.
Um, let's talk about the other video you've got out, which is A Promise in the Air. Um, kind of a shift, obviously, from topic wise. It's a fairly drastic shift from the others. What's it like addressing this type of a topic? Because again, I think what you're doing so well, Nik, is that you're taking these things that occur in everyday life to a very large number of people, and you're kind of unapologetically forcing people to sit in it and understand like there's some of this is okay, some of this is not, but you need to understand where you live in this situation.
Yeah, thank you. The I mean, this song is less socially critical or
Mm-hmm.
political or something, or not at all. This is just simply, I think, a situation many of us know, um, probably to some extent, every one of us. It's about this kind of impossible love,
Mm-hmm.
that you burn so much for each other, but somehow it always crashes,
Yeah.
somehow it's just never works out well, and you respect each other and you love each other, or you at least you you uh, uh, you're very attracted sexually, at
Right.
least. But it's got this burn that you see each other and it's clear, and there's nothing you have against each other. Nobody did something wrong or whatever, but it's just every time you try it, it doesn't work out. and
Yeah.
and it's got this um bittersweet fascination as well. It's got a fascination that is something distinct from a well-working relationship as well. It has its own spice in it as well, that you probably wouldn't are happy that you have lived something like this, but it hurt, or it did hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And the situation is actually a situation I lived. It's concretely a night. I mean, not this in the video what it was expressed, but a night where you meet this person again, and it could be you met in a club by accident, or you even wanted to sit down and finish the whole thing over beer and become friends, just normal, and it just didn't work out because you start to kiss again and whatever, and in the end, um, it was just all emotions were yeah, were just riding over you like an avalanche the whole night, and in the end you're
Yeah.
totally exhausted and out in tears and love and whatever. And it's
Yeah.
actually just this is the song, and this is the video, and this is why the song builds, or this is why the lyrics fell on this song that builds up so slowly and then goes more and more and more into this rage, or into
Yeah.
this dense thing. And the video is very funny. For Mark and me, dance is probably the form of art that is the farthest away from us. I mean,
Right.
I have a lot to do with theater and with movie, and I always had a leg in there sometimes of my life, and that's as well why one reason why the videos are so important to us, because it's a form of art for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
And but dance was so far away for us always, and it was actually the director Natasha Vavrina, who is a wonderful young director from Zurich, who actually just brought us this treatment and convinced us. And we were, get these treatment, you go like, dance? No. And then, but you do a good work. I want to work sincerely. So I did watch her references and stuff. And she did another dance video that I was there and said, oh, it's a dance video and I like it. It affects
Yeah.
me. And then she
Yeah.
did a treatment that was so detailed and so well on the point of everything, that we said go, and she brought then the choreographer and and knew what she wanted to do quite exactly. And the place, the only thing that I brought was the place of the club, because there was a Vice article once with these dead clubs in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
and I think many have seen it. But I was like, always like, hey, these ruined clubs in Italy, that would be something to do a video one day. That was why we did it there. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I think that's really cool too, because like you just said, while dance maybe is not a preferred outlet of art for you or emotion, being able to recognize kind of what you were talking about earlier as far as having the right people to voice those opinions and add that little bit of extra, for Natasha to be able to kind of convince you, like, look, I think you can portray this message. It's just we have to go down this road. And then for you to acknowledge that and be like, you know what? It's art. Like, I don't know everything there is to know about it. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
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 Um, Talk a little bit about the album release. So you guys are self-releasing, correct?
Yeah.
Working on your own label, putting this album out. You've got LPs that are going to be available. Kind of talk about what it's been like going through that process, because I think for lack of a better term, the casual fan or the casual listener doesn't understand how intense a lot of that can get.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's really a lot of work. I mean, we have good support from people who know well about these things. You know, we had good PR and stuff, so we
Mm-hmm.
get good. But we do a lot ourselves, and it is really a lot of work, and that's the reason as well why there are not so many shows up yet, because we simply didn't have the time to organize shows.
Right.
It's like, because you get a certain amount of things, and as we tweak things to the end, was every, to find the right people to do the covers and stuff, and then all these back and forth. I mean, you do every detail. You work with a great graphic designer, but then you
Mm-hmm.
get the first drafts, you play it back, you play it forth, you play it back, and you do this with everything you do. And this is definitely a lot of work. And then again, as we, yeah, it's often finding the right people, as um we want to work with people who are good in their field. We are musicians,
Right.
we are not
Right.
graphic designers. But then we're on the point with all of these things. We're not the kind of musicians say, yeah, do a cover and that's it.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's I think that's about more or less what I can do. We can say it's a lot of work, and we hope that I mean, there's always people jumping on the project because many people love it, and that's beautiful. So we
Right.
get a good amount of help, but it's still a lot that we do ourselves.
Yeah.
And as you say, the release and what I said about the shows, there's the release show, the 20th of April in Zurich, and we're right now talking about Berlin. So I can't say too much, but I think in May is quite easily possible that we're in May in Berlin. So stay tuned if you live close to there.
Yeah.
And then now as this work is done, now we're organizing the shows. So
Right.
there's there's dates to announce within a little bit. And probably one interesting thing for the listeners is if you're a vinyl lover, on the vinyl, there's an additional track that is only on the vinyl and will be nowhere else.
Yeah. That's very nice. I think that's a lost art, in the new digital age of streaming and everything like that. I'm 38. I remember going to the different record stores and it's like, well, I need the Japanese import of this album because it has that bonus track that I can't find anywhere else.
Exactly.
Nobody really does that anymore. And I think it's cool that you guys are kind of paying homage, if you will, to that. And like, if you want to support us, buy the LP and, get this bonus track.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. One of my favorite questions when an artist has a new body of work coming out is it's a two-part question. It's kind of the question that every artist hates too, though, because it is on this album, what song do you think people are going to gravitate to? and what song do you want them to gravitate to?
It's really a difficult question, yeah, because you love the whole baby. No,
Right.
that's clear. Um, I think I can say for different songs for different reasons. Let's say,
Hmm.
um, I think one thing is we're not easy to bind to a genre. No,
Yeah.
and we're happy about that. You know?
Yeah.
So I think different people will gravitate to different songs, and I think there's some more like radio songs, not many, but probably
Yeah.
Where Does Your Mind Go or Drowning in the Void are a little bit more classical song structure, and so that will be probably one thing. Then we have One Love, but yeah, we love them all, but there's just one song that is very central because it was the first song we wrote, and it was always the first song, but by accident. It was always by accident, you know. It
Hmm.
was and that's You're Pain Up My Veins, so it's the first song on the album now as well.
Hmm.
And so it was, you know, then as well, when we wanted to make the movies, we did the shout out to directors to say, hey, who has an idea for which one? And it was just the first idea that convinced us was again for You're Pain Up My Veins. So it was the first video. So it's
Yeah.
always the first song. It's song number one. And
Yeah.
so and we think as well, it's probably the song that describes us quite well,
Hmm.
because it has a little bit, all of it in there. It
Yeah.
has industrial stuff in there. It has mosh pit ready beats in there. It has all kinds of different singing styles, and can be very, you know, it's like, it's probably our favorite one, but I mean, we're happy. On the other hand, you know, now we're talking about Carter. I love Carter because it's so wild and so
Right.
strange, you know. Um, yeah, I love them all, and I would love that people just gravitate to the one they love and tell us why. That would be
Yeah.
beautiful. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Um, as you start developing the live show for this project, obviously you're still working on tour dates, and that's fine, but like conceptually for what you're wanting to do and bring to the stage, what's that kind of conversation been like with you guys, as far as how much of this is like big LED light boards and cinematics and theatrics that way, or are we going to focus purely on delivering the music and just let the energies describe it?
It's for sure going to be cinematic as well, because we have a great team of light technicians who are actually, no, we thought we have one, um, but his friends, you know, it's all friends who are,
Yeah.
but who are professionals and who are very good. But two more of his friends, and who um, are a little bit not that close, but friends of mine as well,
Yeah.
jumped on as well. So they're, you know, they're tweaking their things and having their ideas, and that's beautiful. So, and I think with our music, we thought anyway it fits very well. You should, you know, we love all these shows. Not to say that we're going that big, but you know, what Nine
Hmm.
Inch Nails does and stuff. I think this is. I mean, it's a reference band for us as well. Um, these kind of things, what Young Gods did, which is a reference band for us as
Yeah.
well. Um, I think that fits to this dark music.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, to us, it's important as well to be able to play the small and intimate clubs as well.
Right.
And that's a lot of discussion. What we have, how can we, and it's a fun um, thing to work on as well, because it's difficult. How can
Yeah.
we scale stuff up and down, you know?
Yeah.
But if we have the stage that is big enough, there's definitely going to be a lot of light and stuff and things, and
Yeah.
what's it gonna be? We just discussed. I was sitting down with my friend Toby, the light technician, tonight. We just discussed a little bit, you know, what it's going to be and what kind of it's going to be added there. Still in discussion. And again, they're good artists, because light technicians are artists as well.
Yeah.
They're good artists in their field, so we listen first and then we discuss instead of already telling them what to do. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. And, that's something for me. I do concert photography as well with this stuff. So, like, I always say the light designers don't get the love that they deserve
yeah,
because they can they can make a show, like, especially I think a dark energy show like what you guys are potentially going to be pursuing, like, you can get that ambiance pretty easily, but a great light technician is going to be able to do that, but also allow people like myself to be able to get photos of you that are really telling and helping promote the band even more. And it's not just cool, we washed the whole stage in red light and sorry about you, go about your day.
yeah, 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 definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Awesome, man. That's really everything I've got for you on this conversation. I'm stoked for you. I think this album, from the part of it that I've heard so far, I'm going to nudge Shane and see if I can't get it a little bit early. But I think it is this really cool thing. You mentioned Nine Inch Nails as kind of a reference, and as you said that, I started thinking a little bit more about it, and I'm like, yeah, I can hear some of that Trent Reznor background soundscape, building in this abyss, if you will, that most people don't think about. There's something to be said about the space in between notes that
Yeah,
often gets overlooked. And I think you guys are definitely allowing the notes to breathe and the music to breathe, but also filling those gaps with little nuances that if you're willing to pay attention, you're going to find a lot of depth in.
thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Really, yeah, really happy about that you like it, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'll definitely will keep you guys up to date as far as when this goes live and everything. It'll be pre the album, so we'll help try to boost that as much as we can. And then you know whether it's me getting over to Zurich sometime or you guys getting over to the States, we'll definitely have to try to link up and do some show coverage and things like that.
With great pleasure.
Yeah,
Great pleasure.
absolutely. Awesome, Nick. I appreciate your time so much. Have a nice night.
I appreciate
And yeah,
yours.
we'll keep it up. But
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you.